Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank, which now has 39 locations all over the metropolitan area and throughout the Southeast. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Preseason game number 1 is in the books. Saints a loser at New England, 34-22. And, of course, you don't judge it by wins and losses, although Sean Payton said they'd like to win some more in the preseason this year. You're not going to win when you turn the ball over 4 times and give up 22 points in the process and don't create a turnover.
Yeah, there's, a lot of places you can go with this, but I think you could sense the disappointment in Sean Payton in his post-game press conference. He was very terse and abrupt in his answers and clearly was not happy with his team's performance. And look, at the end of the day, it is a preseason game, but you want to, continue to build towards the regular season. We've seen a lot of positive signs in the first 2 weeks of training camp. This is a step back in my mind. 2 turnovers on the first 4 plays. Yeah, Drew Brees only played 3 plays. Grayson's first play was a pick 6. But, Mark Ingram putting the ball on the ground on the 3rd play from scrimmage, you have to be concerned about that. And a lot of these guys are fighting for roster spots, and that's where you saw some mistakes, breakdowns in coverage and penalties and, and such. Sure, they'll go back and review the film, and they'll probably see a few bright spots, and you'll see a little more, different analysis from Sean Payton on Saturday when he visits again with the media once practice resumes. But, look, I see the reason for his disappointment.
Yeah, 9 penalties, 93 yards, and many other flags picked up or declined or offsetting. That obviously is a major concern. The things that you really want to see is an elimination of mistakes, and that was a major problem last year. That's not what you saw in this game. That has to be a concern because you practice like you play like you practice. And regardless of who's playing, you've got to have a more disciplined approach to things. We shall see as they go to Houston next week to practice before taking on the Texans in Game 2 and then the last 2 preseason games at home. The NBA schedule came out yesterday. Did you notice? For what it's worth, the Pelicans get their season opening in October, but it's a tough schedule pretty early. It gets a lot tougher, though, it seems, right after the turn of the new year.
It does, and look, you got to face the teams. You know who you're going to play. It was interesting. The NBA didn't, only gave like a few hours tease to the announcement coming late Thursday afternoon, and you knew who the teams were going to be that you were playing. It was just a matter of the order you were going to play them in. Again, having to play the Warriors early is interesting to me. Last year,
and the
twice
Spurs
in a
early.
week, and the Spurs. It's 2 of your first 3 games. Home against the Warriors, at the Spurs. A lot of things that were in there that were interesting to me. First of all, the lack of national TV games after a year ago with the performance you had. You've still got one of the stars in this league in Anthony Davis, but yet there's only 5 games on either TNT or ESPN. You've got 5 NBA TV games, or 9, I should say, NBA TV games. Don't count those. You're talking about the TNTs, the ABCs, the ESPNs, and there's only 5 of those, including just 1 on TNT. A couple of other interesting things that I noticed. The Pelicans are on the road the week before the All-Star break. We still haven't seen an announcement about where the All-Star game is going to be, but maybe they're just trying to get the Pelicans out of town so they can get everything set up for the All-Star game.
Absolutely.
The other thing that's interesting to me is you're on the road the final week of the regular season, and you close the season with 4 consecutive road games. So if the Pelicans are in the hunt for maybe that last playoff spot, they're going to have to earn it on the road this year, which is, that's different. You don't see that a lot. Usually, you may see it maybe just, look, this is a multi-purpose building. We don't know what the schedule is in terms of there. Something may have been booked in that final week that doesn't allow it to happen. But to finish on the road with 4 consecutive games, all on the West Coast, I might add, that's going to be a tall task. If the Pelicans are right there fighting for that 8th playoff spot, to have to win, maybe 2 or 3 of those 4 games to wrap up a final playoff spot.
College football, LSU with some significant injuries and 1 defection, as a couple of defensive linemen have gone down, a linebacker's gone down, and Tyron Johnson has left the school. Now, people are making maybe a little bit more about the Johnson situation than should be made, and I say that because for a kid to leave in mid-August after practice is convened does not suggest to me that this is a guy that was a big part of your plans. He's leaving for a reason, and the stated reason is he wants to be in an offense where he can catch the ball more. Translation, I'm not on the top 2 in terms of depth chart, so I want to go somewhere where I can play.
Could be, although maybe he just doesn't want to wait anymore either, because it clearly sets up for him, beyond this year to be that guy. There's a chance Malachi Dupree is gone after this year. Certainly Trahan Doral, and he would have a chance to move up into that upper tier. But look, we're in a different time and place now. Guys want to play now. And, this may not be an offense that puts 3 and 4 wide receivers on the field at a time. When you've got number 7 in the backfield, that probably suggests that, one, you're not going to be spending a lot of time in long yardage. Secondly, you're not going to suddenly start running out of the spread. So there may not be a lot of opportunities there for him now. And if he wants that chance, go sit the year somewhere. You've got 3 years remaining. You're basically giving up your redshirt year by doing this, in a chance to be in a more wide open offense. Wish him well. He's certainly a talented player. Let's see, we'll see soon, presumably, where he ends up.
Yeah, there's no doubt that what I suggested is what happened, because you know what kind of offense they run. You know exactly what you're doing. So clearly this is all about finding a place to play. That's basically what it's all about. We wish him nothing but success. As for Tulane, unfortunately they had to cancel fan day with this inclement weather. That's disappointing. They had media day earlier this week, and I'd say cautious optimism, some degree of confidence just listening to Willie Fritz, but not cockiness, and there is a difference.
No, and you're right. He interesting statement that I think got a lot of play is, he's not the type of, who's going in thinking, okay, we can win this number of games. No, he thinks they can win every game, and that's the attitude he takes. That's the attitude he wants his coaches to take. And if his coaches don't take it, he's going to let them know about it. And, of course, you want to convey that to your players. And look, we've talked about, Tulane a bit and, in terms of what their expectations are. The reality is you don't know what to expect. And I think that can be a huge advantage going into the opener at Wake Forest. At that point, you're laying things on film. People will know what to expect from you. But until then, I'd be interested to know what Wake Forest is looking at in terms of trying to prepare for Tulane 20 days from now.
No kidding. High school football, and you can check it out at SportsNOLA.com by midday on Friday, as you'll be able to review the radio games that are going to be on WGSO 990 AM and a couple of games on WRBH 88.3 FM. Also, the 22nd year of Ken Trahan's original prep football report, and you'll find out who, what, when, and where in conjunction with the best scoreboard in the state at SportsNOLA.com. And, of course, you'll also be able to check out very soon our television schedule for WHNO TV 20 and SportsNOLA.com.
Right. We'll announce the September portion of the schedule later Friday. Still a second half of the schedule to come. Again, the best matchups right here between radio, internet, TV, and, of course, the Friday night coverage on your show for the 22nd year. No better place to get your high school coverage. And, of course, that All-State Sugar Bowl scoreboard as well, right here at SportsNOLA.com. Check it out.
Thanks to the All-State Sugar Bowl for making it possible. Thanks to these guys for what they do on a continual basis, which we deeply appreciate. And we look forward to our new restaurant partner we'll tell you about with the original two. So stay tuned. Check out SportsNOLA.com. You'll get all the information. So I think we've covered it all, and I think Michael Phelps is still swimming. I don't know. Is the guy ever going to quit? It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this in my life. In athletics at any level. I really haven't. I can't think of anything that's comparable. I really can't.
Well, the closest thing, sustained success for this long, is probably Carl Lewis, who did it across 4 Olympians.
It's the only guy I could come up with.
Right, and look, I was I was there in 1996 in Atlanta when he won the long jump. 30 minutes later, Michael Johnson set the world record in a 200. I've seen a lot of sporting events in person in my time, and that is right at the top of the list. I've got a great appreciation for what goes on in the Olympics, having spent some time working the Olympic movement, and I enjoy watching. I tell you, it was tough last night. Remote control was going back and forth between preseason and Olympic swimming.
Well, and then Simone Biles, an unbelievable story and a tremendous young lady who's had to overcome a lot. If people haven't checked out what she's lived with and what she's had to deal with in her life, and such an incredibly positive young lady, and what a great example she is for so many. So the Olympics have great stories, much more to come. If you like track and field, you're fixing to get real happy here starting today. So stay tuned. That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 39 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Lenny, as always, thanks. Have a great one.
See you Monday.
And that's it. You have a good one, too. Until next week, God bless you.